Welcome to DES Trucks, where we run nothing but the best. Guys, in today's video, I want to talk about, should you trust the dealership with your maintenance, your oil changes, and your tire rotations? The reason I want to bring this up because I recently did a video where the dealership allegedly forgot to tighten my oil filter, and I'll link that video down below. But I ended up with a small leak and my oil filter was loose, and I was thinking maybe my oil pan's leaking or something major. I've read in forums that these trucks have problems with the oil pans, and this is one of the early 2018 builds where the oil pan is still composite. And I went underneath, and sure enough, the oil filter was not tight and it was leaking right out the oil filter. Gave it a couple turns, tightened it up, and the leak went away. And I remember the day that I got the oil change. It was incredibly busy. They were slammed, and they took hours and hours to change the oil because there's so many people. There was a quick lube, and it's kind of not by an appointment. You don't really schedule an appointment. You kind of just show up, and you're supposed to have enough technicians to provide the oil change. But for whatever reason, it was a busy day and they were trying to catch up, and it took forever. I mean, I watched movies on my computer. I went across the street and test drove new trucks, came back. It still took like 4 or 5 hours for an oil change. So it might have had something to do with it. They could have been short-handed, or they could have just been slammed, and that's why the filter didn't get tight. Then I wanted a full synthetic, the works, tire rotation, the whole deal. So maybe that has something to do with it. But it kind of got me thinking, should you even trust the dealership with your maintenance? And it's one of those things. It's like, yeah, they can make a mistake, but so can you as a customer, as a average guy, can make mistakes. And I know I've made mistakes too, as well. Number one, I've done oil changes on this truck and I've had issues. Number one, the wheel lug nuts. At least the dealership has the torque sticks to torque the wheels properly, and I do not have those. So the impact that I had is like an 800 foot-pound torque impact, but it has 2 modes. It goes from like 800 to 300, so I kind of put it on low. But it's weird. If it's really cold outside, it doesn't torque good on low. So it's hard. I mean, I kind of got a feel for it, how not to over tighten them, but without a torque stick, it's really hard to really know. Now, the negatives to over torquing your lug nuts by just hitting them with the impact, it kind of weakens them, and it doesn't let the vehicle carry its full capacity because the lug nuts are under more stress than they're designed for. So you don't want to put 1,100 foot-pounds of torque on your lug nuts and then go towing 10,000 pounds. That's something to think about when the dealer, they're going to come in with the proper tools and torque sticks and everything and torque down the wheels properly. So that's something to think about. Yet, while I do have my complaints, I have to understand that there's things that I don't necessarily do correctly as well. So I've actually just went ahead and ordered the torque sticks that go up to 150 foot-pounds of torque. And I remember when I was doing this, I was looking at my torque wrench and realized it didn't go up to 150 foot-pounds. So my old torque wrench did good, but I got this new Milwaukee and it's got 1,100 foot-pounds, and I'm not about to tighten these down to 1,100 foot-pounds. So I ordered up the torque sticks. Another issue that I ran into is I used to work on semi-truck tires, and precision was not that big a deal. You just threw them tires on and threw them off, whatever. And what I noticed is I was taking these off so fast that I wasn't careful of the paint on the inside of the rim. I actually dragged the top of the wheel up against the rotor here, and that's not good. I did it to one wheel and then I realized what I was doing, and I kind of got smart. But doing your own maintenance, you got to be real careful. You can't just be scratching stuff up. It does take a lot of mechanical ability just to even rotate your tires. Just being careful not to damage. So I did kind of scratch up the inside of one wheel. You can't tell, but I know. And it's one of those things, like, you want to do things better if you're going to do it at home. So now I know when I'm going to rotate my tires, I'm not going to lift the truck like way, way, way up in the air. I'm just going to leave it so I can just slide a tire on without any drama. So, and then also too, I noticed that I scratched one of the rims. I don't know which one it is. You can't really see it anymore. But I was taking off the lug nuts and spinning the impact, and the socket like bumped the paint and gave it a little chip. You can't see it no more wherever it's at. It's kind of faded away, or it's somewhere. It's a real small little chip, but that's one of those things, is like being careful and saying, well, I don't trust the dealer. You've got to do better work then, or at least as good of work than as the dealer does. So I'm also going to order some protective sockets that don't scratch up the rims if you accidentally slip off or spinning a gun or whatever. One thing that's kind of cool about my new impact, I'll actually show you guys the new impact that I ordered or bought. It's actually a Milwaukee impact, and it has a mode where it doesn't rev too high. Let's see here. Here's the impact gun, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty heavy. And let me grab a battery off of one of these. Let's see here. Here's a battery. Got one hand here, so I'll throw it. So this has like 3 modes. So even at the lowest setting, I think it's still over 1,000 foot-pounds. Number 1. But I noticed that when you are loosening a fastener, it doesn't spin real fast unless you put it in this mode here. Then it just gives it all the power. But it's like in number 1 or 2, if you loosen the fastener, it slows down the speed compared to the old air tool, which is in here at a Husky Air Impact. When you spin this off, you can tell this thing's been used. When you spin off a fastener and it comes to the end, it's spinning so fast, and then it whips. So that's going to be something that is appreciated with the new Milwaukee, that it's not going to spin real fast once it gets the fastener off. Let's put it in this high torque mode and see how it spins fast in this mode when there's no load. So if you put it in number 1, it spins slow, which is good. You don't want the socket to go whipping all around. So, that's going to be something to come in the future when all the parts get here. I'll start doing some maintenance and doing some videos where I'm actually doing everything to the best of my abilities with the best tools. I'm talking torque sticks, protective sockets, good jack stands. I need to order some more jack stands because my jack stands are kind of shady. So I'm going to order some bigger, nicer jack stands. Here's a look at what I'm working with. 3 of these jack stands are still good. This one here, it's got some issues. It's missing the locking tab. But these are old Harbor Freight, I believe. Old Harbor Freight. And Harbor Freight has some issues. These ones don't have any issues, but these gray ones are old Craftsman's. They're not heavy duty. I'm going to get some nice, newer, heavy duty, strong jack stands from a good company. I'm not going to go with Harbor Freight. I'm going to go with something a little stronger. But should you trust the dealer with your maintenance? Only if you're willing to do better than the dealer. It's one of those things. Maybe the sweet spot is you trust the dealer, but you're willing to go underneath and check your oil filter. It's kind of scary, guys, to think that You take your truck in for an oil change and the filter's not tight. What if you're a woman? What if you can't get under there and check it? You know, things happen, and I like to think that it would have made it until the next oil change. I don't know. Guess you can just say, the best you could say is be vigilant. Look for small leaks and maybe try to stay on top of things, because that small leak could have turned into something big. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. This is DS Trucks, where we run nothing but the best. Over and out.